Welcome to the first episode of Bubba and Bo Bodine's Bible Bonanza. What this is basically a Bible study. We're doing a Bible study, and we decided to share with everybody to help spread the word, get people in the word, and help people stay in the word, and help us stay in the word. Because this is for us just as much as it is for y'all. We hope you're entertained by it to some degree, and that you like it, and in the future hopefully can participate in it. A little bit, if you do like it, please like and subscribe so we can gauge the interest in it and know whether we should continue this or not. A little bit about us. We met in the Air Force over 35 years ago. And the name Bubba and Bodine actually come from a couple of characters we created way back then because we were stationed up in Montana. And there wasn't a lot to do in Montana, was there?
No, there was a lot of cold. A lot of people hunted, and a lot of people, just
they skied.
If you didn't do outside things, basically you stayed in the dorm and played cards or whatever, watching television.
Right.
And it's really hard to get outside when it's 40 below, and you just.
Yeah, if you didn't ski or really do big game hunting, there wasn't a lot to do, and we're not big game hunters.
Well, a lot of people went north to Calgary, and of course I never did that. 'Cause, I always tried to hang around the dorm.
Well, it was like a 6-8 hour drive up there.
Well, we would,
and you weren't supposed to. You weren't supposed to go that
yeah.
far from base. You get in trouble.
Well, he and I, we would actually go over to the NCO club and watch wrestling.
Yeah,
and
the pay-per-views.
Yeah, we used to have a lot of fun doing that. That kind of thing was always good. And then you go talk to your friends, or I would play guitar with some of the guys, and he would play some guitar with me, and we had a little band up there. But yeah, that's where we met. We both decided we wanted to do a podcast. We prayed about it, and it's kind of our first little podcast. And like I said, we hope you like it. We thank you so much from the bottom of our heart for staying and actually, hanging with us. Yeah, I believe we'll probably get better.
I hope it gets better.
If it's not, it's his fault.
It can't get any worse.
It's not his fault. But we're having fun, so maybe you can have a little fun with us. So
what are we talking about today, brother?
I think we're going to go on. I kind of prayed. I feel like we want to do Luke 2. They did a Christmas story, with Jesus in the manger and everything, and they're going to the census. I think Bethlehem. I'm trying to keep my facts straight. I'm a little tired, but I think that would be appropriate. My family would always do that at Christmas. We'd always read that passage, and that always meant so much to me. I mean, even more than the presents, the food is just that always touched me every year. And now our families, a lot of our family members have passed on, and so I figured that'd bring back some good memories, and maybe somebody else could enjoy it. But I really like this story.
A reminder of a reason for the season.
Exactly. And I think a lot of times Christmas gets too commercial. Like we went to our Walmart to pick up parts for the podcast, and we ate at one of our local restaurants, and I pulled out and I had plenty of time. This dude blowed the horn at me, and I'm like, okay.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. People move too fast. We all move too fast.
Yes, sir, we do.
And
it's a good reminder to slow down sometimes and remember that it ain't about the gifts or the presents under the tree or shopping or any of that. It's about Christ and the birth of Christ and our Savior.
And with all the stressful things going on in our world today, it's probably really easy to get lost in all that. So, like I said, we actually wanted to do a Bible study before, and we've done several Bible studies with other things, but we wanted to do one like we wanted.
Yeah, this is kind of where this came from. It's like it was us sitting on the porch, just me asking you questions. A little bit more about our backstory. I wasn't always a good Christian. At best, I was probably a casual Christian, and I was doing things I shouldn't be doing. And he would always preach at me in the Air Force, trying to get me on the right
Being
path.
a heathen myself, like I was going to do any good.
Yeah, one heathen preaching to another heathen, but. If it weren't for him, I probably wouldn't ever came around because he told me things 35 years ago that stuck with me that I always remembered, and it helped kind of keep me closer, or at least thinking about Christ. And I finally got saved and came around and changed my life. And I owe a lot of that to this guy right here. So thank you for that, sir.
Well, let's just be sure and thank God he's the one who kept drawing you. And sometimes he has to keep me straight because a little, every now and then things won't go right, and rah, and he'll say, "No, remember, Ray, what you doing it for?" And he won't let me get too far in the weeds. So that's what good friends are supposed to do. Iron sharper iron,
Yes, sir.
And even though you try to swat each other with an iron stick sometimes,
we beat each over the head with an iron sometimes.
Yeah, just wipe your lumps off and go on. at the end of the day, it all works out. We all want to hear, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." So,
Yes, sir.
oh, I just didn't. We being on heaven's train, I didn't want to be on the caboose waving. Even though my mother used to tell me this story. She said, "Ray," she says, if you don't quit, you're going to be a servant in heaven. She said, "God's going to hand you a mop." I said, "Mom, I don't want no mopping. Mop and glow, mop and glow."
You didn't want to be heaven's janitor.
My mama would do that too, boy. She did it to him. He used to hang
Nancy was
around.
sweetheart. I love her to death.
Yeah, I miss her.
Bless
boy.
her heart.
Yeah.
She always made sure I had peanut butter sandwiches.
She did, didn't she?
Yeah.
I think if they did surgery on him, all they'd find is Jif.
You find a jar of Jif in my belly.
Jif and peanuts running out of his ears.
I love peanut butter, man. What can I say?
I kind of like it too, but anymore it doesn't really agree with me.
We're a little bit older now.
Yeah, I'm a little bit older, but I still like a good spoon of Jif on a piece of bread from time to time.
This is looking like a lollipop, man.
Yeah. Well, if you don't,
Good protein, man. It's protein.
If you don't have a lot of candy and stuff when you grow up, we kind of grew up a little bit, challenged. I wouldn't say we're poor by world standards because anybody in America is rich, but I was thinking, we didn't really have it bad, but peanut butter and all was like a luxury,
Yeah.
But we get candy. Your mama would buy us, like the ice cream, the little rabbit with that little mouse. You dip it into like a little mouse head. It had ears. And you'd eat the ice cream
I remember those.
Mm-hmm. I wasn't saying the brand name, but
no, sir.
But those were good, man. I'd get an RC and a moon pie. Of course, you know that.
Yeah. That's a Southern staple, man.
Certainly. I ate them anyway.
Brother, if you don't know about an RC and a moon pie, you're missing out, man. You need to try that out.
Mm-hmm. Just don't dip your moon pie in RC because I did try that.
No, you didn't.
I did several times.
What happened?
It got better. Oh, no. A lot of times, though, I think we all need to be, if you got a little bit, be thankful for it, and then God will give you more. But
because you really did grow up in poverty, man. That's just proof that your fans, Miss Nancy, taught you to be grateful. It's hard to be hateful when you're grateful.
I tell myself that every morning.
That's a good reminder.
When I want to start complaining and telling God how to run the universe, I always try to remind myself that. Mm-hmm. Now, won't you let me take the wheel, big boy? That's what Bill was saying.
Yeah, our good buddy Bill
was saying that tonight. Yeah.
That stuck with me too, man, because we get wrapped up in thinking and trying to control our lives and forget who's really in control.
So, anyway, if we're ready to get to Luke 2.
Yeah, man, let's get into it.
You want to read it or you want me to? I think I'm going to read it out of excuse me.
I want you to read it, man.
The Amplifier Bible.
The Amplifier Bible?
Everybody calls it the Amplifier because I play guitar, so I just always call it the Amplifier Bible.
You're Marshall.
Yeah. No.
Like a stack of Bibles.
That's good.
Bump.
We have drums, but they're not in the studio with us, so we can't put the little thing.
You gonna save some of that water for later, dude?
I'm fine.
Brother, you just guzzle that.
Well, that's because these lights are hot, man. I need to tell my wife, these are hot.
You gonna get a suntan while you do the podcast?
Yeah, probably. Well, we need vitamin D anyway. Yeah, it's talking about Luke. Okay, we're going to go to Luke chapter 2 in the Amplifier Bible. We're going to read down to 15. Okay, are you ready with me? I'm going to pray. Lord, I ask you to bless the reading of this word, sir. And we give you glory and honor and praise. We thank you for the reason for the season, your son, him crucified, born, and died and rose again the third day. And we want to just give you glory and honor and thank you for this story in the Bible. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. In those days it occurred that a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that the whole Roman Empire should be registered. This was the first enrollment, and it was made when Quirinius was governor of Syria. Maybe I could say that word. And all the people were going to be registered, each to his own city or town. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, from the town of Nazareth to Judea, to the town of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and family of David. He went up there to be enrolled with Mary, his espoused married wife, who was about to become a mother. And while they were there, the time came for her delivery, and she gave birth to her son, her firstborn. And she wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, for there was no room or place for them in the inn. And in that vicinity there were shepherds living out under the open sky in the field, watching in shifts over their flock by night. And behold, an angel of the Lord stood by them, and the glory of the Lord flashed and shone all about them, and they were terribly frightened. But the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for behold, I bring you good news of a great joy, which will come to all people. For To you is born this day in the town of David a Savior, who is Christ the Messiah, the Lord. And this will be a sign for you by which you will recognize him. You will find, after searching, a baby wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger. Then suddenly there appeared with the angel an army of the troops of heaven, a heavenly knighthood, praising God and saying, Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace among men with whom he is well pleased, men of good will, of his favor. When the angels went away from them into heaven, the shepherds said one to another, Let us go to Bethlehem and see this thing, saying, that which has come to pass, which the Lord has made known to us. So they went with haste, and by searching, found Mary and Joseph and the baby lying in a manger. I'll stop right there because the rest is where they start telling folks. You know, they said they went and told it all about.
Mm-hmm. Go tell it on the mountain.
Go tell it on the mountain.
So Caesar Augustus,
Go ahead.
basically, I guess. It begins. The passage begins with a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered, which was part of a census aimed at taxation. The decree set the stage for Joseph and Mary to travel to Bethlehem, fulfilling the prophecy that the Messiah would be born there.
Yeah, that's. I'm not too big on history. That's kind of your forte.
That's my gig. I like the historical context. But I think that's a key element here, especially for people that are doubters. There's actually people out there who still think that Jesus wasn't a real person, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
Even though there is historical context regarding that he did live. And I'm going to get into some of that later. I'm going to bring up a gentleman by the name of Wesley Huff, who is actually a historian. And he posts a lot of historical proof and context regarding the Bible, backing it up as not only the Bible is a book of spirituality, but it's actually a history book in that context.
Well, I was going to say when you said historical context, I'm pretty sure it was C.S. Lewis who said Jesus was either a raving lunatic or he was absolutely who he said he was. And that stuck with me when I read that.
I'm going with the latter.
Yeah, same. And if you live in life like there's no God, you better be right. I don't know who said that. That's not my quote.
I'm glad you worked that in. I was talking about that earlier. It cracked me up when you said that yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know where that quote is. I've heard several guys say it, but I don't know
You don't know who it's attributed to.
No, but I'm not going to attempt to make it my own. I don't think I'm that clever.
Well, let's talk about the actual birth then.
Sure.
As Joseph and Mary arrive in Bethlehem, the time comes for Mary to give birth. She wraps Jesus in swaddling clothes and lays him in a manger because there was no room for them at the inn. Think she got mad at Joseph for not making the reservations?
I would say she was pretty hot. That woman wasn't feeling good. It was probably cold.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it's like she's thinking Best Western or something, and then she gets, hey, a manger. How about some swaddling clothes? I need to wrap this kid up. He's hollering. And then the donkey's like going, why is this kid in here keeping me awake? You know, I don't know. It's just this stuff you think about at 3 o'clock in the morning. Jesus, did you like being wrapped in swaddling clothes? What's swaddling?
What is swaddling?
I looked it up on Grok. I still don't know what it is.
I have to look that up.
We'll
look
have
that
to,
up.
Man,
What is swaddling? We should know that.
Let me go see what Grok says. Hang on,
because you always hear he was wrapped in swaddling clothes.
Yeah, that's been something. I wondered that when I was 6.
I don't think that's just an adjective.
What?
I think it was a type of. Isn't that where they bond? They bond babies. You know, you've seen the babies bound. You know, and all the thing that's sticking out is their face.
Yeah. Think it's okay? I quit Grok.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
It's looking it up. It's having to percolate. So
Just having to think about it.
yeah, 8, 9, 10. It says swaddling clothes, also known as swaddling cloths or bands, refer to strips of fabric or blankets, usually tightly. You get
Okay, so add the tight part.
tightly
right?
wrapped newborn babies, restricting their limb movements to provide comfort and security by mimicking the snug environment of the womb. Now, Carol,
How
she does
about
this
that?
to the puppies whenever it's thunder. It's called a thunder shirt. You can put them in a tight jacket or something, and it keeps them from being scared of the thunder because they feel like it's their
The
mom.
little puppies.
Yeah, so it's like a thunder shirt for baby Jesus. I don't know. Same connotation, I would think.
How about that?
What do you think?
I thought I remembered having to do something with them being wrapped up tight, but I couldn't remember the reason or the context.
Well, it said that it's been around for thousands of years. It said,
Well, clearly.
it soothes infants, promotes better sleep, and presents startling reflexes. Heck, I might wind myself up.
Presents what kind of reflex?
A start, like when somebody wakes you up.
Oh, startle.
Yeah. And still common, also they have special blankets and stuff, or sacks. Hey, Walmart sack for Junior. I'm sorry.
I don't think he was wrapped in a Walmart.
No, I wouldn't think so.
No, sir.
Yeah.
Why
Anyway,
about that?
that's the. I mean, I've wondered about that for a while.
Well, we have solved the mystery of swaddling clothing.
You can sleep better tonight knowing that's been answered
go to
for
sleep.
you.
You won't have to stay up all night wondering what swaddling clothes are.
Your mind won't.
What?
It'll obsess over it for the next hour. They said swaddling.
Okay,
All right.
where was- at the end. Okay. This humble setting underscores the theme of Jesus' humility and the contrast between his royal identity and his lowly circumstances. The narrative emphasizes that Jesus, the Son of God, entered the world in a manner that was accessible to the poor and marginalized, symbolized by the shepherds who would later visit him.
Basically, I know an angel warned them when they were going to talk to Pharaoh and all. He told
Right,
them to take another way.
It starts in verse 8, right?
I think so.
An angel appears to the shepherds in the fields announcing the birth of the Savior. The angel's message brings great joy, proclaiming peace on earth and goodwill towards men. The moment signifies the breaking of divine silence and the introduction of God's plan for salvation for us ordinary folks, highlighting the inclusivity of Jesus' mission. The shepherds, often viewed as outcasts, that's what I was thinking,
Yeah.
are the first to receive the news of Christ's birth, illustrating that the message of Jesus is for everybody. It's for everybody, y'all, including you,
Even
regardless of your social status.
even I get to go to heaven.
Yep. As long as you accept Christ, right?
Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, you shall be saved.
So it doesn't matter if you're rich man, poor man,
Or a thief on a cross.
or a thief on the cross.
Let me throw something in there.
Go ahead,
Anytime
brother.
somebody tries to over complicate the gospel, I mean, I always direct them to the thief on the cross. So that breaks every religious argument. He's like the least common denominator, if you wanted a tongue-in-cheek word. And Jesus said, the other one thief was like, man, if you want you miracle us from down here, you know. And then the other thief rebuked him and said, man, what we deserve, we're getting you. You don't. He said, Lord, remember me when you come in your kingdom. He says, this day you'll be with me in paradise. So that's as simple, as totally simple as the gospel can get right there.
So that's kind of connected to people who think that they got it in their heads that they're just good people and they just do good stuff, that's enough to get into heaven, right?
For by grace are you saved, not that of works. It is a gift of God, lest any man should boast. I think that's how that goes.
Well, I know I remember that from over 35 years ago. For some reason, I remember you telling me that back in maybe in the day room or whatever. Faith without works is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain things throughout my life that have stuck in my head, and that always stuck with me over all these decades. Faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
And as I've grown in the Word, I've realized that there's several layers to that when you peel them back. It doesn't just mean that, hey, you have to put the work in. You got to have faith, but God's not just going to hand you something. No giant God hand's going to come out of the sky and just hand you. I don't know Lord, I wish I had a Maserati or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Well, no hand's going to come out of the sky and just hand you one. But if you put the work in, if you're faithful, and you put the work in and you earn it. But the key there is the faith, right? You got to have faith, and you have to accept that Christ is the only way. That nothing you can do. You can't buy your way into heaven. I guess.
I'll put that more succinctly.
Thank you.
There was I forget, there was an evangelist or someone. It was a while back. He said it. God feeds the birds, but He doesn't drop it in their nest. If you think about that. The bird's like, oh, God, I want a worm. I want a worm. Son, fly out of your nest. That's way better than what I said. But it just amplifies what you said. But,
say that again.
God feeds the birds, but He does not drop it into their nest. Like, oh, Lord, I want a VCR. Not VCR. Lord, I want Netflix.
Who uses
I want
a
Netflix
VCR anymore?
Actually, some people do. Lord, I want a Netflix, or I want. Son, go to Walmart. But I ain't got no money.
Get a job.
Son, get a job. Lord, I can't get a job. Well, go to your friends and borrow his until you can get one. The Lord, you never know how He's going to make it happen. Right. He may have someone deliver you one by mistake or something.
That reminds me of one of my favorite jokes.
What is it? Talk to me.
Man sitting on a house. They're in a flood.
Yeah.
It's flooding. It's
heard
raining
thousands of
hard.
pastors preach this,
It's raining hard. It's raining hard. It's flooding. Man sitting on the house. The water's rising, right? He's sitting on the house. People come up on the bank, man. They throw him a rope. Like, come on, man. We'll drag you across. He's like, no, it's all right. I don't need your rope.
I'm good.
I'm good. I got faith the Lord's going to save me. Well, the rain keeps coming, keeps raining hard. The water keeps rising. And a couple guys in a boat roll up. And they're like, come on, man, jump in the boat. Man, get off the house. We'll save you. Jump in the boat. And he's like, no, that's all right. I don't need your boat. I got faith the Lord's going to save me. Well, it kept raining and the water kept rising and rose over the roof. And now he's sitting on top of the chimney. Well, I'm sorry, we're in the South. He's sitting on top of the chimbley.
Yeah.
And a helicopter comes up and drops a rope ladder down to him.
Mezzanine.
Yeah, a helicopter comes around, drops a rope ladder to him. Like, come on, man, climb up. You're going to drown if you don't get off that roof. He's like, no, sir, I don't need your rope ladder. I don't need your helicopter. I got faith the Lord's going to save me. I'm like, all right. So they left him. Well, sure enough, the water rose up and the current took him away and he drowned. And he found himself at the pearly gates and he walks up. St. Peter's, he's I don't understand. I don't understand what happened. He goes, I had faith in the Lord. Why did I die? And he's like, what are you talking about, man? We threw you a rope and sent you a boat, and we even sent you a helicopter.
Yep. Well, some of us.
What else do you want?
Some of us are that way too. If you
Sometimes we don't see.
If you don't be still and listen and spend time with God, this is not to throw a religious thing on anybody, but you have to spend time with God or you'll miss it. I know I'm the master of missing God, but I guess He's very patient with me. But yeah. Like faith without works is dead. I always tell myself conversely, faith with works is alive. That's not scriptural, but it would be obvious that the converse is true. Like like you say, you want a garden. Well, if you don't get out there and till it up, you're not going to have nothing. You might get a few birds dropping a seed here and there. If you want to catch a fish, you got to go get you a rod and reel. So God is more common sense and practical, and He actually I think He tailors things to each person individually. Like He probably wouldn't bless Rob with a ham radio because he's not a ham operator, but He's not going to bless me with a.
Well, He's not a genie either. I think
right.
A lot of people forget that. I think He's some kind of genie that can wish on a lamp and he just poof, they get what they want.
Be like if you live in the Ozarks and you didn't grow up with nothing but wood, you got a brand new home like or whatever the chainsaw, and it might be your blessing. That might be what you really wanted, and God will honor that. And I heard another guy say too. If you where there's no wisdom, the people perish, and my people perish for lack of knowledge. Mm-hmm. To a old poor farmer that's never had beans, he doesn't know to pray for anything but beans. Think about that. So my people do perish for lack of knowledge. I got the perfect story for that. I know we're probably getting sidetracked.
No, keep going, man.
I used to suffer with gout until the Lord basically healed me from it. And you suffered with gout too.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I cried out to the Lord for months, and I was steady eating hot dogs. I mean, processed food, sausage, stuff like that.
If you've never suffered from gout, let me tell you, that's some of the worst, most god-awful pain you've ever experienced. It's caused by uric acid. Mm-hmm. And people that have gout, their bodies don't void the uric acid in their waste like they should. So it retains, and it stays in the fluid like around your joints. And if you look at uric acid under a microscope, it's literally crystalline shards.
It's jagged, man.
Jagged crystalline shards. So it's literally like ground up glass in your joints. And that's terrible. Exactly what it feels like.
Well, God healed me, and because I remember him telling me, I mean, I eat hot dogs every day. And they're probably the worst thing you could put in your body.
I know.
And it was full of nitrates. But I loved them. And it was easy to do. And my dad, he was that way too.
Yeah.
But I remember praying on my face before God, weeping. I mean, really to my foot like it felt like it was going to fall off. And I said, Lord, why don't you heal me of this? He said, Ray. And when I say it, it's like an impression. The still small voice said, stop eating hot dogs. I quit eating hot dogs, and it went down by half. Just the pain. I mean, I didn't have swollen feet anymore. So, yeah, sometimes it's not God not healing you. It's not you being smart. And my people perishing for lack of knowledge. So.
Yeah, I've come to that realization in recent years as I've turned inward and introspect that a lot of people like to blame the enemy, but a lot of times the enemy is looking you right in the face in the mirror, and a lot of times the enemy didn't have to do anything because sometimes we're our own worst enemies. So after receiving the angelic message, the shepherds hurried to Bethlehem to find the newborn Jesus. Their immediate response to seek out the Savior reflects the urgency and importance of the event. Upon finding Jesus, they spread the word about what they had seen and heard, becoming the first evangelists of the gospel. This act of sharing the good news emphasizes the transformative impact of encountering Christ and the call to share that experience with others. So talk about the importance, Ray, of being evangelists, because didn't Jesus call for the disciples to go out and spread the word? And aren't we all supposed to be disciples going out and spreading the word?
His command were go ye, because he left us authority whenever Acts 2:4 happened. He said basically, behold, I saw Satan fall like lightning. I don't know if that's Acts or not. I forget the exact passage. Mm-hmm. Behold, I give you authority to trample over serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy. Nothing shall by any means hurt you. Basically, go 2 by 2, eat what's set before you. Don't take anything else extra with you. And if a house receives you, bless it. But don't shake the dust off your feet of that city, and don't let your blessing rest there. And what you're supposed to do, you go in there and say, hey, the good news of he's risen. The veil's torn in the temple. You don't have to have priests anymore. Now you have access to God. You have total access to God. You don't have to go through a high priest or have sacrifices, 2 doves or 2 pigeons, and make sure the priest has bells on him, because if he's unclean when he goes in there, the power of God from the Ark of the Covenant will kill him. So that all that's done. When Jesus,
I really just started kind of getting into the Old Testament, to be perfectly honest. And I've been reading some of that stuff that's kind of over my head. But I remember reading about the temple. And they had specific sacrifices they had to make for certain things, I guess. Certain sins required certain.
I was thinking that I was going to think of an arbitrary sin, like if you.
I just remember
if you were sick,
had a sweet
if you were sick or something, basically you had to go outside the camp for so many days. Then you come to the priest and he'd bless you. You make a sacrifice. Basically, you wash with water. You're unclean till evening. Then you come back to the priest, offer a sacrifice. Then you're good to go. And I think God.
Well, oddly, a lot of that has a medical kind. If you were sick, they didn't want it spreading.
Yeah, God.
And the best way to keep it spread was to isolate.
That's exactly right. Go outside the camp, wash with water. You're unclean till evening.
So that's one thing I've recognized in a lot of the Old Testament laws are that a lot of it's just common sense. And speaking of Old Testament laws, aren't there different kinds of laws? There's like 3 types.
There's dietary laws. There's basically I don't know the types. I'm not.
We'll have to get into that later, maybe in another podcast.
There's a whole lot of Mosaic law other than just the 10.
But Jesus' birth fulfilled the law, right?
Yeah, they had to make a sacrifice for his birth. Every male that opens the womb shall be dedicated to the Lord as the firstborn, and then they have to they do the circumcision, and they offer a sacrifice because he was born. I think that's how that goes. But like I said, I'm not exactly sure on my Torah, so.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, but I mean, but I think that every event like that had to have a sacrifice associated with it. Like, I'm probably over my head here trying to talk that.
Well, let's talk about Christ fulfilling the law then.
Yeah.
Because he fulfilled the law, we didn't have to sacrifice sheep and all that stuff anymore, right?
Christ, it's written this: Christ redeemed us from the curse of the law and sin and death, which means he said was basically the last commandment he gave was like love the Lord your God with all your heart and love your neighbor yourself. Basically, that's all the law and the prophets right there. If I said that correctly, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And love the Lord, your all your heart, strength, mind, and everything you got. So basically, he took those burdens of the letter off of us, and he fulfilled it, making an open show of principalities. Basically, he took the keys to death, hell, and grave, and then he made an open show of his enemies. And then he rose again, stayed around for about 40 days, ate fish with the dudes, and then ascended into heaven. You'll see him come in like manner as you see him go. And I wish he'd hung around a little bit longer. But that was at number 40 again. But that's pretty cool if you think about it. And then he told, I remember he told one of the ladies, she was going, to hug him, he said, don't touch me. As I'm not been ascended to my Father, basically, don't touch me. Because he rose, she would have made him unclean. Ceremonial unclean.
Right.
He followed the Mosaic law to the letter.
Well, between your mom and your aunt growing up, I mean, you had to memorize the Bible, didn't you?
Remember, we did Bible drills. And at our church, of course, we had Bible verses. Every child had to say a Bible verse. The favorite one of some of the kids was Jesus wept. Shortest verse in the Bible, And then, and I remember I actually did Bible drills at a church in was it Meridian, I think. And we actually had competitions. And then one of my aunts, we'd go to her house and she would keep us, like my babysit us, and she would actually drill us on the Bible. And my mother read the Bible to me all the time. And my aunt my Aunt Joyce would come. Hi, Aunt Joyce. She would come and she would give me higher spiritual things because she always walked in the Spirit, different. She wasn't Baptist per se, but it's like I was surrounded with all of it from the day I was born. When I was born, my mother dedicated me to God. was premature. She told the Lord, she just laid me on the altar. You let him live, he belongs to you. I said, and so I guess I got to live, thank God. And
yeah, I'm kind of happy you're around, man.
I'm kind of happy you're around too. Considering the stuff we've been through, man, I'm surprised we still are.
Well, no, I use that reasoning a lot. A lot of people ask, anytime they ask me, how do you know God's real? Well, the fact that I'm standing here is proof, because I should not be standing here 1,000 times over. So
no,
he's kept an eye on me. I guess he knew I was going to come around eventually. So that's a good lesson right there. You're never too lost not to come to Christ. He shed his blood to forgive us, and so that we could find redemption.
Right.
And Paul.
Exactly.
I mean, if he can be forgiven for some of the stuff he did.
Yeah, Saul and Paul. He was a pretty rough character. We saw that movie. I think we saw
the
that
miniseries on Angel.
Yeah, then we got to see the David series yesterday, which was pretty good.
The movie, yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I misspoke. It's the actual movie. That was a really good.
I love that movie.
And it was like the most popular one today.
Yeah, I read an article today saying that because there was 3 animated films that were released this weekend. David was one of them. A SpongeBob movie was another one, and then Zootopia 2. And David crushed them all. So that's I like that. That's good news.
That's really
just like
good.
Christ's birth was good news. That's good news to me, because that tells me some people are coming around.
Well, they did a really good job with that.
They did
a real good job with that.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of I got a little weepy there at some parts. It was very touching. It was a reminder how important faith is, I think, and how important it is to keep faith in the Lord and not try to take that will, as our buddy Bill says. You want ready to give me that will back, big boy.
Well, the word says without faith it's impossible to please God. That's a tall order.
It is sometimes, because we get wrapped up in the world, and sometimes we feel abandoned, all because we don't understand and what might be happening to us or going on at the time. Mm-hmm. And that's when it's more important than ever to keep that faith and stay in the Word and realize that He hasn't abandoned you.
Well, faith is a tall order. I think it's tied in with trust
and patience.
And patience, and in your patience possession. In your patience possess ye your souls. If I can get it out, that's an actual word in the Bible.
In your patience
possess ye your souls. So if you're not patient, you got to be careful. It's like,
break that down for me.
In your patience possess ye your souls.
Like I'm 3 years old.
I'm going to try. I don't know if I totally understand it myself, but it's like the patience is one of the fruits of the Spirit, if I'm correct, and gentleness, self-control, kindness, all that. Well, basically, if you're impatient, you'll make bad decisions, and you'll run red lights and crash into people. Yes. Now I don't know if I understand the possess part. Maybe that's part of when you get saved, the fear of the Lord. And in your patience, possess your souls. I'll tell you what, I'll get you an answer, and I'll give you a better one than I have, because I've actually pondered that question for 40 years.
Well, that's one thing I've noticed about Scripture being in the world. I mean, you could just take, just one passage or one verse, and if you really study it, you'll have the surface meaning.
Mm-hmm.
But you peel that back, and there's other layers of meaning behind it. Like one verse can have 10, 15, 20 meanings. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's why that's another reason why I think it's important to stay in the Word.
Yeah, it's important just to keep your prayer life up, and you don't have to be religious about it. You don't have to be, oh, well, I better do this, because if you start doing that, then you get falling into works. Yeah. You have to keep it in balance. You have to be like, okay, Lord, what would you like me to do? Wake up, maybe get a briefing from Him. I heard my one pastor that I love very much. I used to actually I went to church under a long time. It's like, I know this was evangelist that came to church. He says, people are like, don't just stand there, do something. The Lord tell you sometimes, don't just do something, stand there. Get your instructions. Because, in your patience possess your souls.
Yeah, okay.
So if you run out in hard charge, if God gives you a little piece of something, oh, I got it now, God, thank you, I'll take them here. And then you end up broke, penniless in 30 days, 60 days, a year. What? Well, you didn't get the rest of your instructions, son. You ran past me.
You got impatient.
Yeah. Like Mama said, stop. Don't get out in front of that road now.
I got in trouble when I think I was 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if my sister told you the story or not.
I don't know.
Our grandfather on my dad's side lived next to a 4-lane highway.
Right.
And my uncle lived on the other side of the road. Well,
Was this Carolina or Macon?
It was North Carolina. It's up in Raleigh, Durham area.
Mm-hmm.
He was a farmer. He was constantly fighting against the government to keep his land. Well, they took some of it and put that four lane in. And there was a median, right? There was a median. But I was like 3 or 4 years old. I don't know why I'm telling this story. But anyway, I wanted to cross the street over to my granddaddy's house. And I'm like 3 or 4 years old. And I did. And my mother freaked out because it was a 4-year-old.
So you're like 4 years old doing
Yes.
this?
But here's the kicker.
My mother would have killed me.
Yeah, I got a beating, son. Let me tell you. But the funny thing that makes my sister laugh is the whole time she was beating me, I was protesting. But I looked both ways. And I did because I was taught to look both ways before crossing the street.
That's enough.
It was just a bigger street, you know.
That's enough. That'll work.
So
You're missing the whole point.
I'm just like, I don't understand. Why are you beating me? I looked both ways. I did what you told me.
Yeah, but it wasn't enough.
No, I guess it wasn't. I guess you didn't feel like I was ready to cross the 4 lanes.
It was hilarious.
I even stopped in the median and made sure.
Yeah.
I guess you didn't trust my judgment, the judgment of a 4-year-old, I guess.
That's all right, though. You're probably smarter than the average little bear anyway.
I don't know. It's been debated.
Yeah.
So let's see. It basically, I guess, the commentary wraps up. It says, this is a rich passage that not only narrates the birth of Jesus, but also sets the stage for understanding his mission and the nature of his kingdom. The historical context, the humble circumstances of his birth, the angelic announcement, and the shepherd's response all contribute to the profound significance of this event in Christian theology. It invites readers to reflect on the humility of Christ and the joy of salvation that he brings to all humanity who want it. Nobody's turned away.
Mm-mm.
Nobody. We have all sinned.
Yep.
Different sins for different folks.
All of sin to come short of the glory of God. And I love that. For God so loved the world, he gave his only Son. Whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Next verse, for God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but the world through him might be saved.
And that's what we're talking about, the birth of Christ, right?
Exactly. That's the reason he died. Because I used to ask myself, okay, I remember I was born again at an early age, but I remember basically backsliding and turning my back on God for a while. I tried to anyway. And I remember
that.
I remember saved from what? What am I saved from? Okay, I'm saved from what? Think about that for a minute. Saved from what? What are you saved from?
Yourself and yourself.
Basically, the Greek word when Jesus died.
From death.
Yeah, the Greek, I think this is Greek. The Greek word when Jesus died is not saved. The Greek word is sozo. It means saved, healed, delivered, made whole, brought back up, made right, everything. Basically, you're totally restored.
There's a lot more depth into what that means.
Everything that was stolen from you is brought back. So saved from what? Well, we lost our dominion in the garden of Eden. Basically, Jesus got it back. Now we have to still fight it out and work our salvation with fear.
Well, he had to get it back because we're not capable
right,
because of our sin nature, right?
If we could do it, why did he die? If you could make yourself quit smoking or drinking or pick your favorite sin, why did Jesus die? So saved from what? I asked.
Because of our nature, we're going to sin.
Yeah. I used to curse.
But what's the difference? The difference is living in sin and continuing to sin, or recognizing that it's wrong and trying again. Is get knocked down 7 times, stand up 8.
Right.
Even before I was really saved, I understood that concept.
Well, you have to reach. You have to reach out to God because a lot of these sins we're not going to beat on our own.
But you got to keep trying, and you get strength
I
from
believe
him to fight it, right?
This is my personal conviction. Maybe Ray chapter 1 verse 11.
Okay.
Maybe it's not. It's not really. I always think that God will honor your effort if you're moving forward. You know, I remember having trouble forgiving people.
That's very stoic, actually.
I'm actually going through a class. I'm not going to say the name, but it's basically a recovery, forgiveness kind of grief kind of class. And what I've noticed,
dumping some of those rocks in your sack.
The Lord would actually reveal to me like 2 or 3 in the morning. Wake me up, hey Ray, remember that? Something tiny little thing from 40 years ago. Ray, that's still eating your lunch. That's why you react this way. Now I say he impresses upon me, and it just And I'm like, that I remember the Lord said, feel the hurt, remember? I said, oh, yeah. He said, that shaped your personality, but there's still a jagged piece of rock. There's still a bag of rocks. There's still a jagged piece of glass in your soul.
Right.
And the skin grew over it. So every time somebody pops it, it hurts. And I'm like, that's how it was shown to me. And I'm like, okay, well, Lord, thank you for that. He said, you need to forgive X.
I like that analogy. It's like you got broken glass in you, and you never took the tweezers and pulled it out. So anytime anything bumps it, it aggravates the wound,
and it rewounds it.
And sometimes it even makes it start bleeding again.
Yeah, it'll form up. It'll mess up skin in there again. I don't know the medical term, but I noticed that the Lord, if you don't have to be totally feeling. The forgiveness comes first. The feelings come later. I mean, that's usually when you forgive someone or anything you do in the kingdom. A lot of times the feelings line up. The feelings sometimes are 180 out. The obedience is better than sacrifice. You obey it, and then you line up with the universe. You don't swim upstream with God. You get in the stream, you float, or it's going to drown you, or you'll end up spinning upstream all the time, and you never get anywhere. It's like I know what I'm trying to say here, but the forgiveness, like I said, is a choice. Love is a choice. Even though you still hate the person emotionally or mad at them, you make the choice and say, Holy Spirit, I'm willing to forgive this person. I don't know why I'm harping on this, but I'm basically preaching to myself.
Brother, keep going.
But if you forgive someone and you choose to do it, and Holy Spirit, help me, I can't do this. There's no way, sir. You're going to have to help me do this. And you just line right up. Eventually the feelings will show, and it won't hurt you anymore, and you'll actually love that person.
Forgiveness is healing.
Yeah, exactly. It's very cathartic, and if you don't have to put your head back on the chopping block, because sometimes then people.
Well, no, yeah. Forgiveness doesn't mean put yourself in that same situation again.
Yeah. Sometimes
forgiveness doesn't mean be dumb.
Some people are just plain nasty acting, and you're not going to change them. And they don't even want Christ to change them. And he'll try, but the Lord is a gentleman. He knocks. He doesn't. He doesn't kick your door down. Now, he may put an obstacle so big and you're afraid so you can't get around if somebody's praying for you, but he's going to be a gentleman.
Right.
So that person doesn't line up. You're only responsible for what you do.
Well, if you ignore the rope and the boat and the ladder, he's going to...
That's exactly right.
He's going to leave you to your own... Your own
I would have took
demise,
the first guy. I just want out of that.
Yeah, exactly. Take the rope, brother.
It may take you longer to get back to shore, but you do the best you can and let God handle what he can. And that's where the faith without works is coming. The best works you can do is say, Lord, I'm willing to forgive this guy. You've shown me, you've held me, you've required this of me. So please, I want to love this person. Then start practicing loving. Every time you want to pray, that's one person I dislike so bad. I actually wrote their name on a notebook and I prayed for them every morning, the first person, so I could quit hating them because I hated them. The Lord he revealed it to me.
Did it work?
Yeah. The feelings finally lined up. And now I can think of that person. It doesn't hurt. Now, I'm not going to go knock on the door and, hey, give me more abuse or do this X to me again. But I'm just, I could sleep at night knowing that forgiveness is not for your enemy. Forgiveness is for you. You forgave him, so now he's not renting space in your head. That's correct. But the forgiveness is not for them. It's for you. It's for you, me, here's my favorite passage. It's kind of scary. You ever heard the parable of the talents? The parable of the talents. Basically, a king basically loaned the dude owed him like $1.8 billion or something. Okay, and he said, okay, let's go get all my debts back in, and see what all my outstanding money is to get all these things paid up. Well, this dude shows up. He owes him billions of dollars or whatever. I mean, something really enormous. And the king's like, I want that money now. It's like a whole lifetime's wages. He would never be able to pay it back. And he's like, sir, give me time and I'll pay I'll pay you back all of it. And he begged him. And the king felt sorry for him and said, you're forgiven of the debt, man. Don't worry about it. Which most kings probably wouldn't do, but this is pretty cool. And so that dude left and went and found somebody owed him, right? Like it was 10,000 talents, like a couple 15 grand or something trivial. Hey, he grabbed the dude and choked him. Hey, man, pay me now. Or are you going to have it? And he's like, man, he said the same thing he said to the king. Man, give me time and I'll pay you back all of it. And dude's like, he went back to the king, heard about this and said, you foolish servant. He said, I forgave you everything and you wouldn't forgive your the one that owed you all the money. He said, just because you did this, I'm going to throw you in jail and you ain't getting out. You're going to basically, you'll be thrown to the torturers and you're not getting out till you pay the last cent. And my buddy in Texas, his name is Tim, he calls this Christian jail. If you don't forgive somebody, a lot of times things will happen, but you can't
He
pray it away.
received grace, but he didn't give
Right.
grace.
But the Lord takes forgiveness serious. It will block your blessings. Remember, if you don't forgive men their trespasses, neither will your Father in heaven forgive your trespasses.
Forgive us our trespasses, and we forgive those who trespass
And
against
that's
us.
right in the Lord's Prayer. God takes that serious. And I mean, I've had things happen to me that didn't make no sense, and I could pray the fire down. Okay, Lord, what's going on? He said, you hadn't forgiven so-and-so. And he showed me that 40, 50-year-old thing that's still eating my lunch. Satan's the accuser of brethren. He's like, remember that time Ray happened to this? God, look. He ain't repented of that. God's legally bound by his own word. My people perish for lack of knowledge.
Stay in the word.
Yeah, think about it. So, but we'll say ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Yeah.
If you ignore the law of gravity and think you can fly and jump off a building, you're going to splat. Just because you don't know gravity works, don't know what to call it.
Kind of brings full. This is why we're doing this. This is why Bible study is important.
It's going to bring you down, and you're going to splat on top, probably top of an old Buick or something. I'm not trying to be gruesome. But
What you got against Buicks?
I never liked a Buick.
Okay.
But I forgive them. No, they're okay. My mother had an old Buick Electra, and our pastor said, when I was like 6, he says, "Hey, Ray, where's the extension cord? A Buick Electra 225? My pastor told me that when I was 8. He's looking for the extension cord. That was hilarious. You just had to know him.
We had to have those in Montana, remember?
Yeah, block heaters.
Yeah, I remember. I was like, why is there a electric cord hanging out of the front grill of the
they
car?
only came on at 32 degrees or below.
Well, I mean, all the parking places had plug-ins in front of them.
They sure did. It's like horse stalls.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? Oh, yeah, well, it gets so cold up here. If you don't plug your engine block heater in, your oil and gas will freeze up.
At 54 degrees below zero when they shut the base down, I went on the 3rd floor fire escape and dumped a Coke off one of the new guys' head. I said, I'm going to dump this Coke on you. And it froze midair.
That's not a myth. That is not a myth. You heard the myth about it's so cold, your spit will freeze before it hits the ground. That's not a myth.
I've seen gasoline freeze.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No kidding, dude.
Well, you know, in our winter gear containers, I mean, they were goggles.
Yeah.
And they were to protect the moisture in your eyes from freezing.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine your eyeballs freezing? That couldn't be a pleasant experience.
No, I need my eyeballs. They don't need to be frozen. I've been trying to move them all junk like this.
Well, since it is Christmas, I did want to address one more thing because I just thought it was interesting. I'm into weird, I'm interested in historical sort of things, so I wanted to address this and maybe get some of your input on it. There's a fella that I've come across recently, and I've just been watching a lot of his stuff on YouTube. He's been on a lot of podcasts recently. His name is Wesley Huff. If you're he's got a website, www.wesleyhuff.com. This guy's amazing. He's a genius. Tell you a little bit about him. I think his parents were missionaries, but he's Canadian, but he was actually born in Pakistan. But at one point, I think he was 11 years old. He was diagnosed with a rare neurological condition. Yeah, he was 11 years old. I think it was a form of spinal meningitis. It left him paralyzed from the waist down. And the doctors told him he was going to be like that for the rest of his life. There was no treatment for it. There was no cure. But somehow at age 11, I remember him telling the story on one of the podcasts when he was 11 years old. He just felt the need to get up. And he got up out of the bed and walked across the room to his window.
That's awesome.
Just out of the blue. And that experience, along with a great deal of study and soul searching in his later teen years, solidified his interest in faith and in engaging the beliefs and worldview perspectives of others.
When he went to his window, did he see an angel or something like that?
I don't remember him saying anything about that, but the main thing I remember about this, and it doesn't say anything on the website about it.
I'm sure there was a spiritual experience involved.
Oh, yeah, he felt, like I said, it drew him closer to God. The whole experience did, and that kind of solidified his faith. His parents, and they moved back to Canada in Northern Ontario, and he currently lives in Toronto, Canada, with his wife and 4 kids. He's currently the vice president for Apologetics Canada. And like I mentioned before, he's been a guest on a variety of public platforms. He has a passion to help show that the Christian faith is intellectually credible and existentially satisfying. And he brings this forth in his public dialogues and debates and interfaith events. I've seen him debate people of other faiths and on issues of belief and religion around the world.
So his name is Wes Huff.
Yeah, Wesley Huff. He goes by Wes. He's still a young guy, but I've just been real impressed with his knowledge, and he's just very intelligent. And he's well spoken. He holds a BA in sociology from York University, a Master's of Theological Studies from Tyndall University, and according to his website, he's currently pursuing his PhD in New Testament studies at the University of Toronto's Wycliffe College. I'll bring all this up because, like I've seen on the podcast, he's got facsimiles of like ancient text. He can read Greek and all this stuff, and he knows what he's talking about.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people like to claim that Christmas is a pagan holiday. Well, guess what?
I've heard several people say it too, but I don't think it is.
It's not. And you'll be surprised how many of the claims are actually taken from Christianity. Christianity didn't take it from the pagans. Pagans actually took it from the Christians.
Dress right, dress.
And on his website, he's got a lot of infographics, and one of his most popular ones is this Christmas infographics, where it states that celebrating the incarnation of Jesus at Christmas is a long-standing Christian tradition spanning over a millennia. Although there has clearly been growth, lore, and traditions added to our modern practice of the holiday, the accusation of substantial pagan roots falls apart under historical.
Historical. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Historical inspection. All the traditional pagan associations and connections with Christmas, when truly put under the microscope, turn out to be themselves more fiction than fact. Oh. Of course, the first is the claim, and this is what I was talking about the shepherds. The first is the claim that the date of Christmas is borrowed from pagan festivals like Sol Invictus and or Saturnalia. Have you ever heard this?
No. I mean, I've heard a variant of it, but nothing to this detail.
Well, the reality is Sol Invictus was not placed on the December 25th until 354 A.D., when the Philocalian calendar records this. But it doesn't specify that any festival in regards to sun worship. Prior to this, the Julio-Claudian Fasti, I hope I'm pronouncing that correct, inscriptions say sun festivals were actually on August 8th, 9th, and 28th, December the 11th, and maybe October the 19th. The Philocalian calendar says Emperor Aurelian honored the sun with chariot races every 4 years in October, so I thought that was interesting. Mm-hmm. The winter solstice had no festive significance to the ancient Romans. There were no celebrations planned for the date, and they disagreed on when it was. The Julian calendar does say that December 25th, but Pliny the Elder says December 26th. And Columella says 12/23. Have you heard of that? People comparing Christmas to the winter solstice?
I've seen a little bit with Pliny the Elder. I guess that's how you say his name. I've seen a couple of those texts. Like I said, I didn't know it to this detail. Remind me to share.
Well, see, this is why I love Wes Huff. He knows.
Remind me to share something with you about that when you get done with your thread.
No, share it now, brother.
I have a theory.
Okay, what's your theory?
And I'm gonna tell you, I've heard other people say this. This is a factual postulate, and this is a little off topic, but it goes right along with what you're saying. The kingdom of heaven and the kingdom of earth are diametrically opposed. Basically, they're mirror images of one another.
Well, it's the world versus eternity, right?
But, yeah, exactly. But diametrically opposed means that if I don't really
complete
know how
opposites. Yeah,
basically polar opposites.
Yes,
in a
better
in a sense.
That's more better.
Because when they tore the veil, the Lord lives on this side of the veil. We're on this side of the veil. And Paul, I'm going to tell you this to tell you the next thing. When Paul says, "Now we see through a glass darkly, but then we shall see him face to face." Seeing through a glass darkly. Think about that. If you're looking into the veil, into the void, you could just barely make it out. I think he meant what he meant. Through a glass darkly, you see just a little bit of it because you can see into the behind the veil.
Because while we're here, we're part of the world.
I'm talking at a quantum level.
Yeah.
So I told you that to tell you this: Satan is a copycat. There's nothing original, nothing new under the sun. You said something in there about copycats or something like that. Maybe if you could find that phrase, I wish you could read it again. But you said something that triggered this. I'll give you this, and then you go on reading. Mm-hmm. Remember I told you sozo a while ago?
It was about that the Christmas is borrowed from
Yeah, people thinking it's pagan.
Yeah.
I'm going to amplify that a little bit. With
Yeah,
my
go ahead, man.
Remember I told you sozo meant saved, healed, delivered, made whole,
Right.
brought back up. Satan's the accuser of the brethren. Well, he's also a copycat because the Bible says there's nothing new under the sun in Proverbs. Okay, remember Led Zeppelin?
Zoso, yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be a copycat? Satan mocking the word of God if he wanted to get really technical about it? I've thought that for 35, 40 years. Zoso. Polar opposites.
You know, I wondered
I'm
about
not
that.
slamming Zeppelin. I love the album.
No. I mean, I've thought about that before because I was wondering where Zeppelin borrowed that from. I know they
Zozo is like an inversion of the word sozo.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what the runes mean, but I know one of those guys played with runes or maybe thought it was
Yeah,
fun.
Jimmy Page. He bought Aleister Crowley's house and lived in it.
That's
if
right.
you know who Aleister Crowley is.
Aleister Crowley was so evil he nicknamed himself 666.
Well, I mean, he was one of the original occult,
Yep.
big occult leaders back in the day. And Jimmy Page, the guitarist for Led Zeppelin, was
Now,
all about him.
I'm not saying that's a fact. It's just something I thought was curious.
Well, I'm sure Jimmy Page probably had something to do with that. It probably was.
If you want me to go back to 80s, I'll give you something even more.
Cool, yeah.
Like, Jesus says, your name is Peter, and upon this rock I'll build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail. Satan says, your name is rock and roll, and I'll build my upon this rock and roll I'll build my church, and the gates of heaven shall never prevail. Now, I'm not saying all rock is bad. Don't quote me on that. I just always it just seemed curious to me.
It's
like curiosity because we all like a good rock and roll song myself, you know, and I think it's all about intent. But there's some stuff out there that I wouldn't listen to, and I wouldn't let him listen to. I wouldn't let my dog listen to.
Yeah,
and some of it's just flat evil, and some of it you hear on the radio.
Oddly enough, I mean, I remember back in the '80s with the PMRC and all that, they were attacking me. But a lot of the stuff, modern stuff, the pop stuff, not even the rock stuff, the pop stuff is absolutely just.
I was listening.
Wicked, man.
I was listening to a restaurant the other day, and I'm not picking on music. I'm not picking on it at all. I'm not an authority. I love music, and I love to make music, and I've done a few rock songs myself. But I was listening to some song lyrics. This was a country song. I'm like, right? They played a gospel song, and then and then they played a country song right after that about drinking and leaving your wife. I'm like, and then cheating on your wife, but they made it sound all nice. I'm like, that's worse than any rock song I ever heard. Like, you know, and our parents just listened to it in the background. You know, they didn't really care.
Yeah, rock took a lot of heat, but if a lot of other forms, genres, like I said, especially in recent, with a lot of the pop music is just absolutely horrible.
And I'm not trying to pick on genres. Trust me.
It doesn't matter what the genre is. The message is what matters.
Exactly. My library is full of music.
I mean, Stryper. Stryper was a rock band, but the message was about the word. It was about God, about Christ.
They were kind of forerunners. I used to really like them a lot, but
they were one of the first. Really, I mean, there's a lot more common today.
Like Garmo and Key,
like you got bands like Skillet.
Alice does that. He's
Alice Cooper.
Brutal Planet was like totally Christian. The Stolen Prayer, you know, and some of the lyrics about that's where they hung him on a Brutal Planet. It's got, that right there is where they hung him on a cruel cross. I don't want to get in trouble for quoting lyrics, but I was just saying that, you know,
people might be surprised at some of the folks that are saying, like Dave Mustaine, Megadeth, recently
it probably
got saved.
would be. I just wanted to bring that up because I always thought the sozo and the zoso was a weird polar opposite, and it's just a curiosity.
Well, considering Jimmy Page and his interest in it, it makes a lot of sense. But you know, I never was a big Zeppelin fan, so it doesn't hurt my feelings.
Not really either. But
they overplayed them.
Well, yeah, and I'll fire up some Zeppelin today. But you know, if like I said, I've always been like, was it Petra? There was a Christian rock group that said garbage in, garbage out, garbage in, garbage out.
I think Petra was probably the forerunner before Stryper back in the day.
Yeah, Power Praise. I remember listening to that a lot of times.
So let's see. Father Christmas is another interesting one. Father Christmas surprisingly predates Santa Claus, but he is not pagan. Instead, he was a medieval personification of Christmas. Richard Smart of Plymtree is the first to write about him,
right,
referring to him as Sir Christmas, and his task is to announce the birth of Christ.
Right.
How about that?
Exactly.
Hit on Santa Claus here. Santa Claus can only be traced back to Dutch immigrants in New York in the early 1800s.
That was St. Nicholas.
He came from the Dutch. Sinterklaas, also known as St. Nicholas.
Say it real fast. Santa Claus. Saint
Nicholas.
Trying to say like Saint Nicholas.
Saint Nicholas. Sinterklaas.
A child chasing the man. Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas. I always thought that was neat.
His feast day was on December the 6th and was moved to December 25th around the time to help make Christmas a family holiday. Newspapers promoted him.
Ain't he the patron saint of children or something like that?
Well, yeah, St. Nicholas was actually a real person.
Yeah, I know. He was a patron saint of somebody. So he was children.
I think so. I know he was famous because he smacked a heretic in the in the face.
Oh, yeah.
You might have to look that up.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. Oh, let's see.
I thought that was interesting. The claim that the Christmas trees find their origin in Druid and pagan practices and bringing pine trees into one's house to ward off nature spirits.
Saint Nicholas.
The reality is, Christmas trees only go back to the 16th century in Europe. The first mention of Christmas trees is in the Alsace Ordinance in the 16th century. Almost no early pagans thought pine trees were sacred, let alone associated with December 25th. Germanic tribes believed the oak was sacred.
According to this, it's not historically accurate. So,
Oh, St. Nicholas smacking somebody?
yeah, I don't know. It's legend. And I'll give you my theory of Christmas trees.
Okay.
I do not celebrate real trees, and I'll tell you why. They're a number one fire hazard. I'm serious, man. I got a little trees pre-decorated, put it in my little thing. I pulled it out and set up, and I got a little kitty cat nativity scene. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
I have a little kitty cat, and there's little baby Jesus saw a little kitty cat sleeping in the little thing. It was just adorable. But we've set that on there, and it's Christmas, and we don't have little children. So, but I remember when I was a child, I remember 6 or 7 times that a house burned because of a dry tree.
Yeah, dry tree and the electric lights being plugged in.
Well, I ain't never heard of no plastic tree burning. I know that I may be the Grinch. But I
They
don't
might
care.
melt.
Yeah, it might. But no, I'm not trying to say don't have a tree. It's just I'm the Grinch when I don't do electrical fires.
I hear you. Well, I just kind of want to throw that in. I encourage you guys, if you want to know, there's a lot more information on Wes Huff's website concerning it. If you're interested about arming yourself and being able to debunk the claim that Christmas is a pagan holiday, I encourage you to go look him up. The guy's really intelligent. He's knowledgeable.
Yeah, I got to go check him out.
Yeah, I tell you, man, I'm hooked on this guy. I've been watching everything he's been on for a couple months now. I was so impressed with him. Of course, you know me. I like history and I like a lot of stuff. Like I said, a lot of people have to admit now, especially with recent discoveries, that the Bible's not just a religious text; it's a historical text as well.
It authenticates itself backward and forwards.
And Wes Huff pushes that, and he brings the receipts, brother. And I love that.
Oh yeah.
You got anything? Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. You got anything you want to add before we wrap it up, brother?
Bless somebody, pray with somebody, find a need and fill it, and find a hurt and heal it. I've heard that for a long time.
Say that again.
Find a need and fill it, find a hurt and heal it. God, use wisdom. I would not throw a blessing at somebody that God's trying to spank.
We might be trying to teach him a lesson.
Yeah. But
It reminds me of David. The movie David yesterday.
Yes,
David,
exactly.
out of loyalty, he tried to go help Saul.
Ziklag and help
And
Saul,
he wasn't supposed to be there.
Blew up in his face.
He wasn't supposed to be there because
Right.
God was setting him up to take the throne.
Yep,
So
exactly.
we can get in our own way sometimes,
Right.
thinking we're doing the right thing and being the good guy.
Didn't God send you to give somebody some money one time here? Like you were here and God just like told you to go. Oh, I remember you too. It was on the day of the football game.
Yeah,
And you did not want to go because you wanted to watch that game.
Yeah.
That touched me.
No, that was my brother-in-law.
That's right. It was your brother-in-law.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah, I want to hear
Don't
that.
get between me and the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm telling you right now. This Georgia Bulldog game, don't call me. Don't knock on the door unless you plan on sitting down and watching it with me.
Yep.
Well, that's the way I used to be anyway. And I was watching. It was a Georgia. It was a big game. I think it was a Georgia-Tennessee game this year. And my brother-in-law called me. His car died. And I didn't skip a beat. I just jumped up and went over there to jump him off. He was building the house, and he was over there at the house there that's being built, and his battery died. He needed to jump, so I just went over and jumped him off.
You called
And
me.
I didn't realize it till I was on the way back. I'm like, the old me would have been mad about that, like furious. How dare you infringe on my day? And it didn't occur to me. I was on the way back. I was like, it didn't bother me in the least. And I didn't even hesitate.
Yep.
And that just reminds me, like what our pastor said. We're not about behavior modification.
Right.
You change your heart, and the behavior will change with it.
Exactly.
And that's and I remember Pastor Mike saying that, and it hit me right in the head. I'm like, oh my goodness, this stuff actually works.
Well, when he texted me,
I'm changing because I'm in the Word.
You called me and asked, you got a pair of jumper cables? I said,
Yeah.
no, but I got a jump box in my truck. I said, just take my pickup because the battery's good in it.
Yes.
And so he just jumped in my truck and drove over. I think I was in Gulfport or something, but he drove over there and jumped his brother-in-law off and came back and says, I wasn't even mad about that.
No, it surprised me.
It tickled me that he did it. I said, yeah, he sounds pretty happy, because before he'd have been like just fussing and sulking. I didn't.
But I'll tell you, this stuff will change you, man. It will. It'll make you better.
You told me something really good one day. You
I
said whenever God delivers you from something, you still continue in the old habit. How'd you put that?
Oh, yeah. I realized, sharing just my journey, that I reacted out of habit. I forget, if somebody cut me off in traffic or whatever. It was something stupid. And I started yelling and screaming, and I realized, why am I yelling and screaming? I'm not even mad. And then it occurred, it's Pavlovian. You're like Pavlov's dog. You ring the bell, and he started salivating. He trained him to do that. I'm like, I had trained myself to react this way in this scenario. In this scenario where, in this example, somebody cuts you off in traffic, it was just a habit. I'd always reacted angrily and yelled and screamed, made rude gestures or whatever, and I was just following an old pattern.
We've all been there, but yeah.
And it occurred to me, I'm not even mad. Why am I doing this?
It was like shooting a water gun with no water in it.
Well, it's like your behavior is kind of like lags behind where you are, in your journey as a Christian, and it takes a while for it to catch up,
I find out my brain likes familiarity. See, because we were talking about this on the front porch one day.
Yeah.
Watched a beautiful thunderstorm, and he's like, Ray, because I got mad about something, and then he said, hey, Ray, let me stop you, man. Check this out before you get mad. He told me this. I'm like, well, that's what I was doing. So we're like, oh, happy.
Not even mad.
We found something really neat.
You're just programmed.
Yeah.
Just like Pavlov's dog. You got programmed to react a certain way in a certain scenario.
Basically, the flesh don't get saved.
Well, that's why introspection, to me, and when I pray and I stay in the Word, part of that for me is reflection.
Right.
And
that's important.
In looking inside, it's like, how does this apply to me? Instead of looking at it like, well, that applies to them over there. I remember seeing them do that. Or that applies to them over there. No. How does it affect you? Are you doing that? Look inside yourself first and make sure you don't need adjustment first before you go looking at other people and pointing out what they need to adjust. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Pull the plank out of your own eye, and you'll see clearly to pull the mote out of your brother's eye.
Yeah, pull that big 2x4 out.
That's exactly right. I mean, I've been the recipient of this judgment, and I've actually used to be snap judging people.
You catch yourself doing it. Make a correction, dude.
And I'm like, Lord,
because you're going to do it. Just accept you're going to do it.
It's human nature.
But you got to recognize it when you do it.
The Bible I think it's Proverbs or Ecclesiastes. Man is born into trouble as the sparks fly upwards. I love that verse. It's just before we even get a chance, you're just going to mess up. It's going to burn all up and fly to heaven. So what you do about it? Are you going to stomp out the embers? Are you going to try to smother it? Or are you just going to keep pouring more gas on the fire? So, it's like the Son of Man's come to seek and save that which is lost. He said he didn't come Satan came to kill, steal, and destroy, but Jesus come and may have life more abundantly. So if you're not having abundant life, and like Rob always says, it's probably not you. It's probably not the Lord. It's probably you.
Well, I just say the way I put it is like, in this equation, the Lord is perfect.
Yep.
In this equation, so if there's something wrong with this
You're
equation,
the variable.
I'm the variable.
Yep.
It's got to be me. So what am I doing or not doing?
That's right.
And like I said, that's where the retrospect and looking inside in retrospect and it matters.
Well, being a holy and perfect being, God, you have to make that first assumption. If God is real, the Bible's real. If the Bible's real, it says you can live by it, so you can live by it.
Well, people get mad at God and they start yelling at God and say, "Brother, it ain't God."
Right.
God's perfect.
Right. Now, if you're honest, I believe if you're humble and honest, you could tell God anything you want to tell him how you feel. But like hurling accusations at God, I really don't recommend that because he'll actually get funny with you and show you something silly.
You go, "Oh, really?"
Now, I just felt like the Lord one night. I was livid with rage. I just mad at God, and I got a mental image of Jesus going boop,
boop you on the nose
like the old cat.
Yeah,
and I felt I couldn't be mad anymore. I fell out laughing. So the Lord does have a sense of humor. It's actually made us, so he must have a good sense of humor. But no, I always tried, and I fall short of the mark. But like he was always saying, if that trigger's still there, well, you can make a choice. You can make
recognize the trigger.
The only thing you can change about yourself sometimes is how you react. And if you know you can't do it, just get away from there and just go take it to God immediately because it'll take time. It'll take practice.
It does.
Just like your your martial arts, if that's okay to bring up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Repetition.
Repetition is the key.
Repetition.
Yeah.
You get that. You don't have to think and stop. Hey, I'm going to stop this guy from striking me. No, that hand goes up immediately. You got that block.
It's embedded in your subconscious
Yep.
at some point.
Yep. It's like I don't have to sit there. I'm going to play a B note.
You don't have to think about it.
Just,
Yeah.
I'm playing it.
So, yeah, that's a good point. You get to the point, if you practice enough times, it doesn't have to be a conscious effort anymore. It'll get embedded in your subconscious, and you can move on to working on the next thing, fixing the next thing that's broken. Because there's always going to be something broken with us. That's just our nature.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the key is we always got to be working on it and trying and fixing these things and repairing them and maintaining them and trying to be better.
I'm going to leave you with this. And I mean, we don't have to quit right now, but, you know, the Lord wrote this, and I think this is maybe in Psalms or Isaiah or something, but it's like, a bruised reed I won't crush, a smoking flax I won't clench. It's like somebody broken that's trying to grow. Mm-hmm. The blade of grass is broken, and the candle's still smoking. It's got a little bit of fire left on it. He ain't going to put it out, and he ain't going to crush that bruised reed. That means he'll honor what little efforts you've got, and he'll sit there and fan that flame. And he's going to sit there and straighten you up and help you grow. And the Lord can do it because it's his grass, his fire. And I'm like, that always really encouraged me.
Because he came, he was born, he came here, and he died for our sins. That gives us that opportunity for redemption, right?
Yeah.
But redemption only works. You know, saying you're sorry ain't enough.
No.
That doesn't mean anything. But if you say you're sorry and then you make an effort not to repeat the offense, whether it's, I mean, that applies here to each other. But it really applies where I think where Christ is concerned and where God is concerned. I think he'll recognize your effort. Yep. It really is the effort that matters.
Well, we'll see. They have. Even Paul says it, the milk of the word, the meat of the word. Pretty soon you're expected to grow up.
Well, you know, I'm a Georgia dog. I'm a dog, man. But I'm gonna quote Saban here. Quote Nick Saban, give him credit. They say practice makes perfect. Well, you can't achieve perfection. But if you strive for it, you can't help but achieve excellence. And that stuck with me. You know, Jesus set the bar. You're not going to hit that bar. There's one perfect person, that was Christ. You're not going to hit that bar. But if you keep striving for that bar, you can't help but improve yourself. You can't help but be a better person.
I forget what they call that in the IT world. I think it's called 99.99% uptime. You can't get 100% because there's always something. I mean, if the building explodes to an earthquake, you're not going to be up on your servers.
Right.
But you do the best you can. Got it totally as bulletproof as there. You'll have 4 nines, 99.99. I strive for, I think, 75%. You know, but no, it's if you walk with Christ, you know, you will go through trouble. He said, but you'll have trouble in this world, but be of good cheer. I've overcome the world.
Outstanding.
And I really like what you was talking about today, man. We got to go back further with that.
Well, we can. Hopefully, we'll continue this. Hopefully, you guys got something out of it.
I'm addicted.
I say you guys like somebody's watching this. Well, we hope you watch it.
We need to introduce Bob. Hi, Bob.
Yeah, this is Bob. Bob, this is the guy behind me stalking me. Is Bob?
Bob's stalking him.
Yeah, a relic of my martial arts past. I used to beat on him, but now he's just kind of a prop.
He's kind of fun though.
But like I said, like and subscribe, and that way we'll know people are interested in this. Hopefully, we evolve the podcast if you're interested, and eventually we'll be set up to maybe take some live comments and let you guys get involved with this. Yeah. Anything you want to say before we close?
No,
man?
I figure we just close in prayer here, and we'll review this and make sure it's what we want.
Say a prayer, brother.
Lord Jesus, I just ask you to help everybody through this Christmas season. We thank you for another year, and forgive us where we haven't been thankful and where we have failed you. I pray that you would go with every person that watches this and bless them and touch their heart, Lord, and correct us if we've said anything wrong, and bless us, in the way that we should be, and help us do more. And we just give you honor and glory and praise, Lord, this Christmas season and every day. In Jesus' name, we just thank you. Amen.
Amen. And Merry Christmas.